The morning mist hung low over the village of Odiu, where the people had lived for generations beside a river that once sang through their lands. It was said that the river was alive, that it carried messages from the ancestors to the living. Children played by its edge, women fetched water, and men cast their nets with laughter. But one dawn, everything changed. The river stopped flowing. Its voice went silent. What was once a rushing body of life became a still, glassy surface that reflected only sorrow. The elders gathered in disbelief, wondering what sin had been committed to anger the river. Among the villagers stood Adetola, a 12-year-old girl with curious eyes and a quiet spirit. She watched as the grown-ups whispered to one another, their voices trembling with fear. The air smelled heavy, like secrets waiting to be told. Adetola's grandmother, Murmur, said that when the river goes silent, the land begins to cry. And truly, the crops started to wither, and the animals refused to drink. Nights became cold and uneasy. Adetola could not sleep. She felt as if the river itself was calling her name in dreams only she could hear. One night, Adetola woke to a strange sound, a faint hum coming from the dry bed of the river. The moon was bright, silvering the world in mystery. She crept out of her mother's hut and tiptoed toward the water's edge. The river was still, yet beneath its surface, something shimmered faintly, like trapped light. She bent down and listened. It was soft, like a whisper, "Find me." Adetola's heart raced. Who was calling? Why her? She ran back home, trembling but unable to shake the feeling that the river's silence was tied to her destiny. By morning, word had spread that 3 goats had vanished near the river. The villagers took it as a sign of curses or dark magic. The chief ordered that no one should go near the water again until the priest consulted the spirits. But Adetola couldn't stay away. Something about the river felt personal, as if it had chosen her. She began sneaking out each night, sitting by the banks, hoping to hear the whisper again. Each night it grew louder, more desperate, as though the river itself was trapped and crying for release. Her grandmother noticed her restlessness. Adetola, Murmur said one evening, the river listens only to those who listen to themselves. Be careful what you hear in silence. But Adetola didn't understand. She felt drawn deeper into the mystery. She began dreaming of a woman made of water, her eyes glowing like stars, her voice echoing with sorrow. They have taken what is mine, the woman said. Bring it back, and the river will breathe again. Adetola would wake sweating, her small heart pounding, the woman's voice still ringing in her ears. Days turned into weeks, and the village began to suffer. Wells dried, fish died, and children fell sick from thirst. The elders grew desperate, offering sacrifices of yam and fowl to the river's edge, but the water remained still. The priest declared that the spirit of the river, called Ayaomi, had been offended. Yet no one knew how. Adetola's dreams became more vivid. The water woman showed her a hidden cave beneath the forest hills, where something golden pulsed faintly in the dark. That is my heart, the spirit said. It was stolen by greed. Without it, I cannot flow. One evening, Adetola gathered courage and told her grandmother everything. Murmur's eyes widened with fear. Child, that cave is forbidden. It was sealed before your mother was born. Many who went searching there never returned. But Adetola felt no fear, only a strange sense of duty. Grandmother, if Ayaomi's heart is there, I must return it. Murmur tried to stop her, but something in the girl's eyes reminded her of destiny, a call no one could silence. That night, she whispered prayers over her granddaughter and gave her a small charm woven from cowries and thread. For protection, she said softly. Before dawn, Adetola set out. The forest was thick and humming with secrets. She walked barefoot, guided by the whisper of water in her mind. The deeper she went, the quieter the world became, until even the crickets held their breath. Soon she found herself standing before a wall of rock, covered in moss and strange carvings. The whisper grew louder. Here, it said, Adetola touched the stone, and it shivered under her hand. Slowly, a small opening revealed itself, a narrow tunnel breathing cold air from within. She entered. The cave smelled of damp earth and thyme. Her footsteps echoed, and her lantern flickered like a frightened heart. Symbols lined the walls, old ones, drawn by hands long gone. As she walked deeper, the air grew heavy, and she felt a presence watching her. Then, at the end of the tunnel, she saw it, a small pool glowing faintly with blue light, and in the center of the water floated a heart-shaped stone, golden and trembling like it was alive. But beside it crouched a shadow, a man-shaped figure with eyes like coals. The shadow spoke, its voice like grinding stones. "Who dares touch the heart of Omi?" Adetola froze. "I came to return it," she whispered. The creature laughed, a sound that made the cave tremble. "Return. It was stolen by your own people. They drained the river for their greed, took her heart to build their wealth, and left her to die." Adetola's breath caught. "Then let me fix what they broke," she said. The figure stepped closer. "You are brave, but are you worthy?" It reached out its hand, cold as night, and touched her forehead. Everything went black. When she opened her eyes, she was standing in a place that looked like the bottom of the river, surrounded by glowing water. The woman of her dreams stood before her, tall and radiant, her body woven from streams of light. "Adetola," she said, "you have come." The child bowed her head. "I want to give back what was taken." Omi smiled sadly. "The heart cannot be restored by hands alone. It requires truth." She waved her hand, and the water rippled to show scenes of the past, villagers digging channels, hoarding gold, laughing as the river's path was blocked. Adetola saw how her own ancestors had angered the spirit. They had taken the golden heart from the river source, believing it would make their harvest endless. But by taking it, they stopped the flow of life itself. Tears filled her eyes. "I didn't know," she whispered. "Then you must remember," said the goddess. "You carry their blood, but you also carry their redemption." She handed the glowing heart to Adetola. "Return this to the source, and I shall forgive the land." The child nodded, trembling. "But beware," the goddess added. "The shadow will try to stop you. It feeds on the silence of the river." Adetola awoke back in the cave, clutching the glowing heart. The shadow stood waiting, its form shifting like smoke. "You cannot win," it hissed. "The river belongs to me now." But Adetola remembered her grandmother's charm. She held it high, whispering a prayer she barely understood. The charm glowed, and the shadow screamed, shrinking until it vanished into dust. With tears and courage, Adetola placed the heart into the glowing pool. The moment it touched the water, a deep rumble filled the earth. The cave shook, the walls wept, and light burst forth like dawn. Outside, the villagers woke to the sound they had longed for, the rush of water. The river was alive again, dancing, laughing, singing its song through audio. Birds returned, the air smelled of rain, and joy spread like morning. But Adetola was nowhere to be found. Her grandmother searched the forest for days, calling her name, until one night she dreamed of her granddaughter standing in the river, smiling, her hair shining like moonlight. "I am here," Adetola said. "The river flows again." From that day, the villagers built a shrine by the river and named it after her, the daughter of the flow. No one fetched water without whispering her name first. It was said that sometimes, at night, the river glows softly, and if you listen closely, you can hear a girl's laughter dancing on the waves. The people of Odu learned to respect the water, to take only what they needed, and to remember that every river has a heart. And in the heart of that river, the spirit of Adetola lived on, forever flowing, forever guarding the soul of her people.